to his own expertise, you know. How many cruisers do we have? You go on cruises, anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's great. I did it about 20 years. My first one was really, I wasn't ready for it. I was in the Air Force for 9 years. Flying, I could handle. I don't particularly like heights. I don't even like to be this tall. But flying is okay, except I had never gone over water. So I was a little concerned. They booked me on a cruise ship to go out of Dover in England, and we had to fly to Heathrow from San Francisco. So I put saltine crackers in one pocket, Dramamine tablets in the other, and threw up in the cab on the way to the airport. Just one of those things. And one sign always bothers me, and why they don't change it, I'll never know. You pull up in front of a thing that says terminal. Bad. But they were, and I was flying Virgin Airways. Who could trust an airline that's never gone all the way? But they were very nice to me. A young lady said, "Where would you like to sit, Mr. Regis?" I said, "I'd like to sit next to a beautiful woman." Well, she sat me next to a beautiful woman. She was 76 and I was 40. But she was a very sweet lady. She was from England, and she knitted the entire way. About 20 minutes outside of Heathrow, the pilot got on the intercom and went, "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for flying Virgin Airways. We'll be arriving in Heathrow Airport very shortly, so just pay attention to the stewardess and she will help you prepare for landing. Thank you again for flying Virgin Airways." Now, we had all spotted this beautiful red-haired stewardess that was alabaster skin, blue eyes, just gorgeous. And she was so sweet and nice to everybody that everybody on the plane liked her. The pilot started to talk to the co-pilot, forgetting to turn the microphone off. And he said, "What are you planning to do when we get to England?" He said, "Well, the first thing I'm going to do is have a spot of tea. Then I'm going to make mad, passionate love to that beautiful red-haired stewardess." Well, the whole plane started to laugh, and suddenly she's running up the aisle to tell them that the microphone's still on, and slipped and fell right next to us. But the friend of mine, she didn't miss a knit or a pearl. She says, "No need to rush, dearie. He's going to have tea first." Very smart old lady, I'll tell you that. Not old lady anymore. I like young girls. I just admit it, ladies. I like younger. I'm talking about young. I'm talking about 60, 61. In my age bracket. Yeah. Anyway, we get to Heathrow Airport, and now they put me on in a little mini bus to go down to Dover. And there was a guy between me and the driver. I was sitting right up front, and I kept yelling, "You're on the wrong side of the road!" And each time I said it, I knew I was making a complete fool of myself, because we were in England. And so I started to apologize to the driver, and I noticed that the guy in the middle had his arm around the driver. And then I realized they were Siamese twins.
No.
And how could you pass an opportunity to talk to Siamese twins? I said, "Gentlemen, I'm sorry about making a fool of myself. Where are you from?" And the guy in the middle said, "We're from Montgomery, Alabama." I said, "Oh, wait, you're not from England?" "No, we're from Montgomery, Alabama." I said, "What did you do in Montgomery?" He said, "We drove a limousine in Montgomery, Alabama." I said, "What'd you come to England for?" He said, "So my brother could drive." You've been a great audience. I appreciate you. One quick joke. 20th anniversary, the woman says to her husband, "You've been a wonderful husband for 20 years. I don't know what to get you anymore." He said, "It's very simple. I want to see what you keep locked in that box over there." She said, "But that's my only privacy." He said, "You said anything." So she gave him the key. He opened the box, there was a stack of $100 bills and 2 eggs. He said, I'm going to ask you about the money in a minute, but what the hell are you doing with 2 eggs in this box? She says, well, over the years, every time we made love, if I did not have an orgasm, I put an egg in the box. He said, really? 2 eggs in 20 years? Where'd you get all this money? She said, every time I got a dozen eggs, I sold them. Thank you so much.
I MC, I do props, I wash windows, whatever you need. I'm going back here. The 2 men, businessmen, are talking, and one guy says, I just don't know what to do about my son. He comes into work at 11 o'clock in the morning, he fondles all the models, goes out to lunch, comes back, fondles the models again, and leaves. The other guy says, my son comes at 11 o'clock, fondles all the models, goes to lunch, comes back, and fondles all the models and leaves. The first guy said, I just said that. He said, I know, but I'm in menswear. Our next entertainer has played Polly Bergen's boyfriend in Desperate Housewives. Luckily, he could play with her too. And you've seen him in the Gilmore Girls, the Howie Mandel Show, Princess Diaries, and Frankie and Johnny with Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer. He started his career at the age of 15 when he went on the road with the internationally famous Harmonicats. And then at the age of 18, he went on a world tour with Johnny Pulio and the Harmonica Rascals. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Greg Lewis.
My one-man show. Some Greeks are not in the restaurant business. And yes, I'm a harmonica player. And I'm Greek. And I know what you're all thinking right now. Oh no, not another Greek harmonica player. Well, I'm different. And I know there are a lot of Greeks that are indifferent. That's one word. My real name is Gregorios Anastasios Panapoupolis Logiotatos. One time I wrote it out for a druggist and he filled it. That's when I found out that I'm also a foot fungus ointment. One thing about the Greeks, though, we had good food. Only one thing, we cook everything we have in olive oil and garlic. Even the Rice Krispies. Have you ever had Rice Krispies cooked with olive oil and garlic? They don't snap, crackle, or pop, they poop. And I can remember when I was a kid, my mother used to pack a lunch for me to take to school. She used to take everything she could and just stuff it in this big brown paper bag. I could always tell that bag was mine, had a big oil spot on the side. And did that feta cheese stink? I used to get on the bus, the passengers would check the bottoms of their shoes. Good group. You too, sir. Even though you're sitting right up in front, you know that. Okay. Sorry? I'm lucky I can